When I think back to the beginning, it's strange how the little things always seem so insignificant in the moment. Emily and I had been married for 7 years, together for 9. We weren't perfect, but we were happy, or so I thought. Looking back now, I see all the signs I missed, the tiny fractures that were there before the earthquake finally hit. It started with late nights. Emily's job as an editor for a digital magazine had always kept her busy, but recently, her workload seemed endless. She had meetings that stretched past dinner, sudden deadlines that kept her glued to her laptop, and out-of-town work trips that came up with no notice. "Don't wait up for me," she would say, kissing my cheek before heading out the door. At first, I didn't question it. I trusted her completely. I was busy with work, too, managing my own team at an advertising agency. We'd always respected each other's independence, but lately, that respect felt like a canyon widening between us. The first crack appeared one evening when Emily came home late, smelling faintly of cologne that wasn't hers. "Had drinks after the meeting," she explained, tossing her bag onto the kitchen counter. Her voice was casual, almost too casual. "With who?" I asked, leaning against the doorway. "Just some colleagues," she said, her tone light but her eyes avoiding mine. "Nothing major." It was a perfectly reasonable answer. But something about the way she said it left a bitter taste in my mouth. Over the next few weeks, my unease grew. It wasn't just the late nights, it was the way she'd tense up when her phone buzzed, the way she started keeping it face down on the table. Once, I caught her smiling at a text message, her cheeks flushing in a way I hadn't seen in years. "Who's that?" I asked, trying to sound casual. "Just Claire," she replied, referring to her best friend from college. "She sent me a funny meme." I smiled and let it go, but the gnawing feeling in my gut wouldn't leave. Claire was her go-to alibi for everything lately. Dinner plans, weekend outings, even phone calls that lasted late into the night, it was always Claire. I decided to test her story. The next time Emily said she was meeting Claire for dinner, I called Claire myself, under the guise of asking her about an upcoming birthday gift for Emily. "Dinner?" "No, I'm in Boston for the weekend," Claire said, sounding genuinely confused. That was the moment I knew I didn't confront Emily right away. I needed proof, something undeniable. The next time she announced a work trip, I followed her. It felt wrong, like I was betraying her privacy, but she had betrayed my trust first. I tailed her car to a small boutique hotel on the other side of town. She parked and went inside, and moments later, a man joined her. He was tall, with dark hair and an easy confidence that made my blood boil. They greeted each other like lovers, a brief kiss before disappearing into the hotel lobby. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Anger surged through me, but so did a strange sense of calm. I had my answer. She was cheating. Over the next month, I became an investigator in my own marriage. I installed a GPS tracker on her car and discreetly accessed her phone while she was in the shower. What I found made my stomach churn: text messages filled with flirtation and longing, photos of romantic dinners, even a booking confirmation for a weekend getaway. She wasn't just having an affair, she was living a double life. I documented everything, saving screenshots and emails to a hidden folder on my laptop. I knew I needed to confront her. But I didn't want to give her a chance to talk her way out of it. Emily was a skilled journalist, adept at spinning stories, and I couldn't risk her turning this around on me. That's when I came up with the idea for the dinner party. Emily loved hosting events. She thrived on the social buzz, the opportunity to show off her cooking skills and play the gracious hostess. I told her I wanted to throw a dinner party for our closest friends and family, something to celebrate us and rekindle the spark in our marriage. Her eyes lit up at the idea. "That's so sweet, Alex," she said, kissing me. "You've been so thoughtful lately." I smiled and kissed her back, all the while feeling the bitter weight of what I knew. I spent weeks planning the event, making sure every detail was perfect. I wanted Emily to feel safe, to believe everything was normal. I wanted her to lower her guard completely before I pulled the rug out from under her. The house was filled with the warm hum of conversation and laughter. Emily was in her element, flitting between guests with a glass of wine in hand, her smile radiant. Watching her, you'd never guess she was living a lie. After dinner, I stood up and clinked my glass for attention. The room quieted, and all eyes turned to me. "Thank you all for coming tonight," I began, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. I wanted to take a moment to talk about something important. I turned to Emily, who was smiling up at me, oblivious to what was coming. Emily, you've been my partner and my best friend for 7 years. We've built a life together, one I thought was based on trust and love. But over the past few months, I've learned some things that have shaken me to my core. Her smile faltered, confusion flickering across her face. I know about your affair, I said, my voice clear and firm. I know about the late nights, the lies, and the man you've been seeing behind my back. Gasps filled the room, and Emily's face turned ashen. She opened her mouth to speak, but I held up a hand. I have proof, I continued, pulling out a folder filled with screenshots, photos, and emails. Every lie, every betrayal, it's all here. The room erupted into chaos as friends and family tried to process what they'd just heard. Emily's denial crumbled under the weight of the evidence, and tears streamed down her face as she begged me to forgive her. The fallout was swift and brutal. Emily moved out the next day, leaving behind the life we'd built together. The divorce was messy, as these things often are, but I refused to let her walk away unscathed. For months, I felt hollow, like a shell of the man I once was. But over time, I began to heal. I found solace in the support of my friends and family. And in the knowledge that I had stood up for myself. Looking back, I don't regret how I handled things. Letting Emily think she was safe, gathering the evidence, and exposing her lies in front of everyone, it gave me the closure I needed. Now, as I sit in my new apartment, surrounded by the beginnings of a new chapter, I feel a sense of peace. Emily's betrayal may have broken my heart, but it didn't break me. I'm stronger now, wiser, and ready to move forward.